What's up, everybody? Happy hump day. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Kristian Harloff Show. So much going on in the world of entertainment on today. There are just tons of stories, big casting rumors, major franchises. We got to dive into all of this stuff here. Andor reveals its air dates and its episode times here, which are pretty amazing. The Predator animated movie dropped its trailer. You know that Jeff on the hot mic revealed the title for that one. This and more. Plus, we got a really awesome co-host for the show today. Can't wait to bring him on and talk about all of this stuff on the Kristian Harloff Show. So let's not waste any time. Let's just get into it. Here we go. Yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kristian Harloff Show. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, sitting in for my buddy of years and tears, Kristian Harloff here, the old Seminole buddies hanging out. And today I'm very excited because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. The news is just piling up here as we walk into, we're already in spring, but summer movie season is somewhat underway, but it's really going to start kicking off here. Along with, we've got Last of Us this weekend. We got Andor coming real soon. We got so much happening in the world of film and entertainment. And look, there's a lot of great topics here. I can't do it on my own, so I'm very excited to welcome to the show. I don't know if it's for the first time or not, but it's my first time working with him. He's someone you guys know if you follow the movies pundit spear at all, a guy who's really been incredible to watch his rise to the point that he now on his show, on his channel, Sean Chandler talks about, he is at 295,000 subscribers. I recently watched his interview with Christopher Landon for the film Drop that's coming out here, and that is the great Sean Chandler. How are you, Sean?
I am very excited to be here, so I am doing wonderful right now. I'm always in the mood to talk movies way too much.
I got to talk about something, though, real quick with you, man. How do you get the hair to look this good? How do you get the skin to look so? I mean, like, you've got to talk about, you should do a whole video about your skin treatment and your hair treatment, for God's sakes.
Well, I was on the news this morning, so I had to wake up nice and early, ice my eyes, put the mask on with the vitamin C to make the skin glow, and experimented with all the products to find the ones that make me look really nice, and use the camera just right to get the right glow with everything like that.
Exactly.
But I appreciate it.
No, really, you got to do the 4 a.m. wake up like that. You got to go viral with your own video about how you get ready for these things. That'd be very funny.
There very much is a whole process to get ready. Be on camera. You see me rough out of bed, sometimes do the trailer reactions. My eyes are swollen. It's two different Sean Chandlers depending on if you get the full routine or not.
I've been there, man. If I've got a hat on, I haven't showered. If I've got a hat on, I haven't showered. That's the way I live.
Exactly.
That's the key for me. But we are very excited to have you on the show, Sean. People who might not know, will you talk a little bit about like your channel and what you do on your channel and like and your journey just for a few minutes or a couple of minutes, if you don't mind here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like everyone watching right now, that I went to the internet because I loved movies, and back a decade ago I was watching Movie Talk in the AMC and Collider days with Campia, you, yourself, Harloff, all those people, and I went, hey, I wonder if I could do that too, and started up a YouTube channel and just kept pressing ahead, iterating, experimenting, and just trying to get better and better. And I feel like the luckiest guy alive, because now the thing that was my hobby, that like I was just like all of you watching, and now I get to do it for a living, which is incredible to be here on this show. It means so much to me. So I'm very honored to be here. And also, dreams do come true. If you're thinking about starting a channel, give it a try. You never know what could happen.
Oh, I know. And you're fantastic as well, because on one of your other channels, you talk about a step-by-step process. You have numerous videos, a step-by-step process, encouraging people how to start their channels. I'm gonna have to take a look at those, because as someone just pointed out in the comments, I'm still stuck on 37,000. So I'm a slow mover. I'm not as quick as some of you all, but maybe there are tips in those videos that I'm not doing that might be great for me as well. But for anybody starting out, certainly watch Sean's videos. They're really great primers for what to do. But we're not here just to kiss Sean's ass. We're here also to talk about entertainment news and entertainment stuff. But remember, people, super chats are super important here on the Kristian Harloff Show. Roxy had 103 yesterday. We've got a special guest. I think we should break 103 super chats. So start sending them in, and we'll answer them on the tail end of the show. Anything you want to ask about, anything you want to know from me and Sean, anything you want to know for these topics and want to make comments on, please send them in as we go along. Remember to subscribe. And remember to hit a like on the video and leave comments if you're watching this later or as we're going along in the chat. So, Sean, let's not waste any time because, as I said, we got so much to get into here. So let's bring up the first story here. And that one's got to do with a little man named Robert Pattinson. This is not going to cause any drama at all, I don't think, when we talk about it. You know, it has no connective tissues to any other bigger franchises. But here we go. And so this is the story here on Dark Horizons. The Batman and Mickey 17 star Robert Pattinson, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here. I don't have Christian's full setup yet. Here we go. Is reportedly circling the role of the main villain for Denis Villeneuve's upcoming Dune Messiah at Warner Brothers Pictures. And legendary, according to THR, the actor is reportedly looking at a role with speculation being it's the character of Tlalexu face known as Scytale from Frank Herbert's books. Apologies to anybody who knows how to accurately pronounce those because I do not. According to the trade, no offer has been made to Pattinson, who is currently filming Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, in a role rumored over the weekend to be that of the Greek god's herald Hermes, though recent set photos have brought this into question. Pattinson, of course, has commitments to Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2, which is aiming to shoot before the end of the year. So if he does Messiah, he'll have to squeeze the project in between Odyssey and Batman. Dune Messiah is currently on track to film this summer. Published in 1969, Messiah kicks off events 12 years after those of Dune, with Paul Atreides ruling as emperor, married to Princess Irulan, who is, of course, played by Florence Pugh, while maintaining a relationship with his concubine, Chani, played by Zendaya, who I doubt she will be described as a concubine in that movie. Forces plot against him, including the Bene Telex, an arcane xenophobic sect of genetic manipulators who traffic in biological products. Face dancers are genetically engineered servants with the ability to mimic any human. The recent Dune Part 2 brought in $714.6 million globally. Dune Messiah is expected to hit theaters on December 18th of 2026. So, Sean, you hear this news. Where does your mind? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Where does your mind go with this stuff when you hear this news of Robert Pattinson?
Well, there's several different directions you can go, whether you talk about what does this mean for the production of Batman 2, but the one where I go with it is just how this guy has managed his career, because he does Twilight 15 years ago and really got kind of pigeonholed into, teen heartthrob, part of the most ridiculous franchise, but he spent a decade working on his indie credibility. Yeah. And so the people in the industry know this guy can actually act. He's not just Twilight sparkling vampire guy. He can act. And he reached a point in time where he goes, all right, time for the mainstream. And you look at the last few years, he's just collecting the biggest directors, and Reeves, Nolan, Villeneuve, and part of these big franchises. That's a really nicely handled career. Yeah. And so once you get past Twilight, he obviously is incredibly talented, and the best directors see that. So whatever they're going to do, I haven't read Dune Messiah, so I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name either, but if they're excited for him, I'm excited for him. But also there's all these things that feel like warning signs, like, is Batman 2 in trouble? Is this thing going to collapse? It got delayed again? What's going on? Yeah.
Well, another thing to think about too here, Sean, is if this happens, this is going to be a reunion between Chalamet and Pattinson yet again, because if people didn't watch The King on Netflix, which is a version of Henry V, a Shakespeare play, Pattinson played the Dauphin, who is the French rival to King Henry, which is Chalamet's character. And they were incredible in that movie. It's definitely a one you can rewatch multiple times to really enjoy two fantastic young actors at a certain moment in their careers. And so the fact that they're coming together again with Florence Pugh, I mean, these are three phenomenal actors now who are really establishing themselves as awards contenders and developing a track record of incredible performances, whether they be, as you said, in independent movies or in franchise films.
Right. And that's where it's kind of fun when you have those actors that aren't just doing big blockbusters, and they're good enough that when they do a blockbuster, it's the ones that have credibility to them. Yeah. That you're like, these are the directors that Pattinson's doing the Odyssey. Like, this is the real deal. Yeah. And, especially in his case where Twilight had just, especially people my age, Twilight has such a stink to it, which they made something for teenagers. That's fine.
Yeah,
There's one project that he did. And he worked hard to earn the right to be taken seriously.
Right.
And I'm glad that it's finally paying off for him.
Yeah, and this is multiple franchises, as you said, because you've got Twilight, you've got even Harry Potter. People forget he's in Harry Potter. You've got the Batman stuff. If this comes through, you've got Dune. There's a lot that he's collecting on both sides of the fence. But one of those, of course, is the Batman. So how do we look at this? Because obviously, clearly, we're both on the same side. This is exciting if he's really going to be cast as the villain, and Dune is going to be fun to see that. That's how you get more butts in seats, these great actors coming into it. But the Batman Part 2 is supposed to be shooting later this year. And as the article points out, he'd have to shove in his time on the set of Dune in between these two other projects. So what do you think? What's your feelings on this? Is this now moving towards the Batman Part 2 being delayed again? Or do you think this is much to do about nothing because the social media has been blown up about this a little bit?
But I thought I read an article yesterday that Batman had been delayed by 6 months again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so, like, there's already something there where it's like, wait a minute, that was pushed back, and he's looking to take another big role, not a small little thing. This is a major event film with a big director as the villain that both comes with the filming time for that, as well as all of the stuff that comes afterwards. And if that's what he's throwing in there, it seems like, okay, this thing's not ready. And it's the same studio. Right. So it's like people that are in the same with Warner Brothers are like, okay, we want to keep this guy in our house. Yeah. So let's put him in Dune. What does that mean for Batman? It just feels like there hasn't been any encouraging news about the Batman Part 2 in years. Like everything is, well, the scripts, we're working on it. We're working on it. And it's just discouraging.
The report you're referencing came from Nexus Point News, and they said they now state that the Batman Part 2 won't begin filming until early 2026 at the earliest. Now, there's no official statement, I don't think, from the studio themselves, but you bring up an excellent point. The fact that it's the same studio, they know that they're pushing it, and because they're pushing it, they want to reward their main actor, Robert Pattinson, with something. So now possibly this is something they've done to fill in the time where he normally would have been shooting the Batman Part 2. He'll now come on possibly as the villain in this Dune film and still be under the tent, as you say. But it's really curious because you look at this and you wonder why all the delays on this movie. And then recently James Gunn plucking Colin Farrell out of the Matt Reeves verse to put him into his verse for Sergeant Rock. So it's just a lot of curious moves going on behind the scenes with all of this stuff. And do you think we're going to get any clarity on this? Do you think we won't get clarity until after Superman comes out and we see how it does?
At the moment, it's starting to feel like maybe that's what's happening here, that enough time passed that they didn't get forward momentum on Batman Part 2 that they went, well, let's just see if we need to go all in on James Gunn or if we need to hedge our bets. Yeah. And when you're just a couple months away, you start feeling like, why would we hard commit to something when we're still at the point where we can pull the plug?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what it, especially now, it feels that way because there's just been no updates. There's only been delays.
Yeah.
And it feels like Warner Brothers is doing this with a lot of the DCU of they want to see how people respond to this movie. Does it get the numbers they're hoping for? Is it kind of moderate, or is it actual big disappointment? And decide from there where they're going to start throwing $200 million and what we're going to like hard green light and move forward on. But it certainly feels like Warner Brothers is going, let's just wait. A few more months. Let's just see what happens, and then we'll start throwing our money around.
I mean, yeah, you hear these reports about DeLuca and Abdi possibly being on the chopping block. Then, of course, they're crowing like crazy after the success of the Minecraft movie. So now it becomes a little more, becomes more muddier. Then you hear all this stuff about how the Batman Part 2 is getting delayed, and then rumors that Pattinson is actually, they're trying to figure out how to get him into the James Gunn verse of DC. How is that going to work? Tonal shifts, all of those conversations. And then you're right. I mean, there's a lot of pushback on this Superman movie after that sneak peek. It certainly wasn't my favorite, but I think a lot of people did like it. So you're seeing that it's not getting this universal woo crazy buzz necessarily. And it almost feels like it's lining up to be another one of these cultural touch point battle movies that we've seen
Right.
recently. Sean, doesn't it feel that way when people on the right are already grabbing onto this and trying to destroy it and beginning the process of this?
Yeah, it's frustrating that that's what the space has turned into, where
Yeah.
everything's a battle. And this one's extra tricky because of the weird Snyderverse type stuff.
Yes,
I'm a
right,
big Zack
yeah.
Snyder fan. I'm a big fan of Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder's DC movies.
Ditto,
But
yeah.
then there's that side to it that's like the what we would call it, the cult mindset, that like that's their whole world of movies is Henry Cavill is Superman. And so there's people that are angry about this before they've seen a frame of it, and suddenly people hate James Gunn. It's like, where's this come? Didn't we like James Gunn until 5 minutes ago? What's going on? I don't understand where this is coming from. And and then Superman is just one of these characters that he's been around so long that everyone has connected with a different version of Superman.
Yeah,
Where even in
true.
the last 20 years, 30 years, there have been so many TV shows, and people love Smallville, or they love Superman and Lois, and that's what they connected to, or they connected with Henry Cavill. And so he's been reinterpreted so many different times that how do you find the version that everybody loves, that's a good on-ramp for my kids, that makes me happy, that makes 25-year-olds happy, that gets my mom who's 70 to go see it and she's happy? That's tough with a character where everyone has so many preconceived notions about the character.
Yeah.
And I for me, it's my most anticipated of the summer. So I'm so excited because I love Superman. I love James Gunn. So I'm curious as to what he's going to do. But I'm so nervous too. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it.
Yeah, you get that weird feeling that you see certain channels or certain people are already starting to ramp up the content they're going to generate to go after this movie. And it really is super. I was watching something this morning and I was like, why is this guy even pining in on this stuff? And I was like, this is nonsense, some of his points of views and takes on this. And I'm like, this feels just like Star Wars all over again. This feels like shades of Snow White all over again, where people are lining up to try to destroy this movie and use anything. So we'll see how that plays out. But if you look at the track record right now, Matt Reeves with the Batman and with the Penguin, of course, he wasn't the showrunner, but he was the EP. Those are two solid victories in his ledger. Whereas James, Creature Commandos was fine. I don't know about the finale, but Creature Commandos was fine. But we haven't seen a theatrical film from him on the DC side of things to maybe counter that. And if this comes out and underperforms or doesn't do well or has mixed critics reviews that affect the box office, if you're David Zaslav, who clearly is a guy who just acts whenever he feels like acting, you can't. I mean, there's rumored to be getting rid of the Looney Tunes franchise or brand, yet they're working on a Looney Tunes feature film. So it's very confusing what they're doing behind the scenes there. So there's all kinds of possibilities that this could go awry before it ever gets settled.
That's everything with Warner Brothers. It feels like everything it's all in flux. There's so many moving pieces to where it's not like you can just look at one piece and analyze it in a vacuum. Because there's even like room, like the murmurs about why it's taking Matt so long to finish the script of like these like vague allusions to things going on.
Yeah, personal
and you
things or whatever.
Filter it through that. Filter it through that. You can filter it through the DCU, and do they want two Batmans and all those different things? Plus, David Zaslav, Warner Brothers as a whole.
Right.
How do you interpret this? I don't know, but I would love to know the behind the scenes on all of this.
That MCU book was so amazing. I hope one day someone writes a DC book that explores all of this stuff from the beginning through all the different regime changes through the David Zaslav era. I would love to read that and get some real knowledge about what went on behind the scenes. So
I love that. Even that Marvel book you were talking about, I was re-listening to it during my trip this past week out to LA to do that interview because it's so good. I love that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see. We'll keep a tab on it. Keep tabs on Robert Pattinson and see where he goes. And of course, Superman is just a couple of months or 3 months away. So we'll find out for sure when that happens. Let's move on to another franchise here, Sean. Let's talk about a little, what do you call it? Hunger Games stuff here going on with Emma Thompson. She is being eyed. Speaking of an actress that can play in franchises and go into independent films, Emma Thompson here, she is being eyed for Hunger Games. She's reportedly in talks to portray Drusilla Sickle in the upcoming prequel film, The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping, which I think they released over at CinemaCon, the title there, at Lionsgate reports Nexus Point News. The sixth film in the overall saga, the story is a midquel set 40 years after the events of A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and just over 30 years before the original Hunger Games. Events will unfold during the second quarter quell, the 50th version of the games that were won by Hamish Abernathy, the only District 12 victor until Katniss Everdeen and Peeta Mellark came along. Drusilla is an escort from the capital who has been going to District 12 to carry out the reaping since the first quarter quell. She's described as a detached and unsympathetic figure who clashes with several others. Oh, Emma's great in those kinds of roles. The report follows on from several others in the past few days, with the same outlet indicating Charlie Plummer is rumored to take on the younger version of Haymitch, the character that Woody Harrelson played in the original films. Others have reported that Ralph Fiennes is up for the President Coriolanus Snow role. Kieran Culkin has been offered a young Caesar Flickerman, which is Stanley Tucci's role from the original. That seems perfect. And Jesse Plemons, and not Cooper Hoffman, has been offered Plutarch Heavensbee, Philip Seymour Hoffman's role from the original. The new film is being directed by Francis Lawrence, while Nina Jacobson and Brad Simpson are producing. Billy Ray is writing the script, and filming begins in July in Germany ahead of a November 20th, 2026 release. So, this one, Songbirds, was it the Songbirds and Snakes? That one did really well. A lot of people came out of that liking that recent Hunger Games movie with Rachel Zegler there. So what are your thoughts here on Emma Thompson possibly stepping in to give even more gravitas to this movie?
Well, as you kind of mentioned and alluded to, they described the character as detached and unsympathetic and clashes with other characters. You think you want to bring someone in that can be written to be very unlikable, but because of their talent, the audience still likes them. And that's where you want to bring in someone like her that can do that can play a very likable, totally unlikable person. And so that's where you see it and you go, that's perfect. Yes. And you read the description, and as you read it and you realize, oh, she's perfect for that. Like, right. That's the thing that she can do really, really well. So that was my immediate thoughts on it. But yeah, like you said, the last one, I wasn't really sure how it would work, how it would be any good. It was like surprisingly like nice to be back to that world and a prequel done right. Yeah. And in particular, because there's so many years of Hunger Games you can explore, setting it in the middle, there's you go, oh, cool. Like, what will the technology look like? Yeah. And all these different things to it, you kind of want to explore it because they've built out this great world and with lively characters.
Yeah, and I wonder if you're going to have any of the actors from the most recent film, are they going to age them up or are they going to replace them? What is going to happen with them 40 years later? What's the end result going to be? But clearly, because this is all kind of where it's at, having her, someone like Emma Thompson come in, I think of all the Harry Potter movies when they bring in the villains of the piece. And, oh God, I can't remember the name of the character who was in all pink, but she was a great person to bring in to frustrate everybody around Hogwarts and trying to undercut Dumbledore there. Dolores Umbridge. That's right. Yeah. Coming in and doing having an incredible effect on the entire movie. So Emma can bring that kind of strength, we've seen Emma in interviews. Yes. She doesn't suffer fools. And so to have her play a role like this, I think is really smart. You put a foundational, very talented actress at the center of this to be someone who it looks to be hard to overcome, difficult to defeat. And so I think that's going to add a lot of energy to the movie that I'd be looking forward to as well. But what are your thoughts on the possibilities of Ralph Fiennes coming in? It's fresh off Conclave. Kieran Culkin, who is currently on Broadway doing Glengarry Glen Ross, and then Jesse Plemons playing the Philip Seymour Hoffman role. Do you like these actors possibly being in talks here to be in this one?
I mean, you just kind of go down the list, and they're all great actors that bring something interesting and different. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky on this one because they're playing characters that have been played by other actors that are already iconic, and so sometimes you're immediately like, okay, is it like does that feel right? Does it feel like a disconnect? Because such distinct, Donald Sutherland versus Ralph Fiennes, like they're so distinct and different. But at the same time, you go, but they're great, they're awesome. Yeah. So I want to see what they're going to bring, and because there is these 30-40 year stretches between the different entries, it gives you a lot of room in there to be able to reinterpret it and be okay with the differences. But even the headline is about Emma, and you read the rest of it and you're like, oh, this whole cast seems just stacked with that. I mean, that's what these movies have always done so well, is having every small little part is this character that pops and is played by a great actor that is interesting, so much so that we're taking the original franchise and we're doing these prequels about all of these side characters that now they get their own movie.
Yeah. And I think it's great to see that as well. The level of actor that is being attracted to this franchise. This isn't like the Transformers movies, which I like, by the way. I mean, but they're, they bring in like Francis McDormand or Stanley Tucci or Kelsey Grammer, these other like really good established actors, but they bring them in to have fun in a crazy film. But with something like this, there's real commentary going on in these films, a social commentary and what have you in these films. So you kind of want to bring in these actors that are going to be able to convey the nuances and the complexities of what you're trying to tell with the characters and with the stories. So yeah, along with Charlie Plummer, I mean, this is as you said, a very stacked lineup. If all of these deals fall into place and these rumors come true, this is a hell of a stacked cast for a film like this, that it'll appeal to a lot of different sections of the movie-going fandom to get them in there to see the film.
And bring the franchise to a new audience. That's like my daughter's grown up older, and so we were sure a little bit of the franchise before this last one, but by the time this next one comes out, she'll be in that prime age, and she was interested. We just didn't want to show her too much just yet. She'll be in that prime age by this next one, and like you said, has that broad appeal, and it's a franchise that they're smart blockbusters. They have all the spectacle, the excitement, the world building, but they're packed with commentary too.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. So, well, yeah, we'll keep tabs on it, as I said, and we'll see what happens. And when the casts start being announced, we'll definitely put that in motion. Sean, I'm gonna do a break here real quick. So I'll bring you down here and talk to the fans here. So, guys, we have got ourselves a ad coming up here that you want to pay attention to. It is for VIIA trees. It's VIIA, and they are fast-growing trees. So, some of you need a little vegetation in your life. You need a little something to maybe calm yourself down, do a little breathing, do a little meditation, maybe even put a smile on your face when you look at it. VIIA trees might be something you all want to take a look at. So we'll be right back with more with me and Sean Chandler here on the Kristian Harloff Show right after this.
I get very excited every time I get a chance to talk about VIIA. Man, I love VIIA. 420, it's right around the corner. There's no better time to elevate your wellness routine, whether you want to relax, recharge, refocus. VIIA has the perfect lineup for you. If you haven't tried them yet, you're really missing out. I've been telling you about them for months. They are the best. I use them all the time. The sleep gummies, oh my God. I'm telling you. I just told my buddy Chris about them. He's going to get them soon. Whether you need to unwind, refocus, boost your mood, VIIA is here to enhance your everyday and night. It's trusted by over 500,000 happy customers. VIIA is changing the game in natural wellness, blending powerful, high-quality hemp-derived ingredients to deliver real, effect-driven benefits. Whether you're looking to sleep better, that's me, have better libido, improve focus, recover, or simply relax, VIIA has a tailored solution just for you. With products ranging from 0 to high cannabinoid levels, VIIA lets you fully customize your experience to fit your needs. Doesn't matter what you're looking to support. It could be your daily wellness routine, enhance focus and clarity, or unwind with deep relaxation. VIIA has you covered. I wonder if you wonder, what do I do? Where do I go? Where do I start? Take VIIA's product finder quiz to get personalized recommendations tailored to your needs. It can take less than 60 seconds to complete. So, if you're 21 and over, please check out the links to VIIA in our description and treat yourself to VIIA's annual Spring 420 sale. Black Friday level savings up to 35% site-wide right now, up to 50% off packs and bundles, and get a free gift and more savings with your first order using our exclusive code Kristian. Plus, enjoy free shipping on orders over $100. That's code Kristian at the link in our description. After you purchase it, they're going to ask you where you heard about it. You got to tell them that we sent you. Support the show and tell them that. Enhance your everyday with VIIA. Let me tell you guys about fast-growing trees. I've discussed them before. I want to tell you about them again. They are the biggest online nursery in the U.S. with thousands of different plants and over 2 million happy customers. They have all the plants that your yard needs, like fruit trees, privacy trees, flowering trees, shrubs, and a lot more. Whatever plants you're interested in, fast-growing trees, it's got you covered. You can find the perfect fit for your climate and space. Fast-growing trees makes it easy to get your dream yard. You can order online and get your plants delivered directly to your door in just a few days without ever leaving home. Their Alive and Thrive guarantee ensures your plants arrive happy and healthy. Plus, get support from trained plant experts on call to help you plan your landscape. You choose the right plants and learn how to care for them. That's exactly what I did. Everything I just said right there. That's what I did when I got my Honeycrisp apple tree. My wife was so excited to get it. We got it. It was beautiful when it got there, and then put it outside. We called somebody up to ask the kind of soil we needed. They said the kind of care we needed to give it, and it is thriving in the backyard. We're literally treating it like one of our kids. My little one gave it a hug. So it's really great. We love it. We love fast-growing trees, and we hope you love it too. This spring, they have the best deal for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get 15% off their first purchase when using the code BIGTHING at checkout. That's an additional 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code BIGTHING at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code BIGTHING. Perfect time to plant. Use that Big Thing code to save today. The offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply.
All right, there you go, everybody. VIIA and Fast Growing Trees, one helping you do better in your life and have health and mental calmness and all of that. Lord knows we need all of that in our world, because the world is crazy out there, and maybe even some fast growing trees to help you feel some calm, help you meditate out in the backyard or wherever you're at, maybe out on your balcony if you have an apartment. Those kinds of things are in your living room. These things are really important, and even more so important to support the Kristian Harloff Show by using those codes and ordering those products if they work for you and if they appeal to you. So, all right, let's bring Shawn back in and let's keep going with some more of these stories here. Shawn, this is something we talked about before we started the show. Wasn't on the rundown originally, but we might as well get into it now. And that is a trailer that dropped yesterday for this new Predator project. Who the hell saw this coming? Oh, wait, Jeff Snyder did on the hot mic. But anyway, Hulu has premiered the first official trailer for Predator Killer of Killers, the new animated anthology feature from Prey director Dan Trachtenberg. The story follows three of the fiercest warriors in human history and their engagements with the creatures from the live-action films. One is a Viking raider guiding her young son on a bloody quest for revenge. It's time I tell you. Another is a ninja in feudal Japan who turns against his samurai brother in a brutal battle for succession. There's also a World War II pilot who takes to the sky to investigate an otherworldly threat to the Allied cause. While all these warriors are killers in their own right, they are merely prey for their new opponent, the ultimate killer of killers. The project is one of two Trachtenberg directed Predator films releasing soon, the other being the live-action Predator Badlands, which was previewed at CinemaCon, starring Elle Fanning, which will open November 7th, only in cinemas. Predator Killer of Killers will release on Hulu on June 6th. So, Shawn, your thoughts on this trailer? Did you like this thing? Did it do it for you? And what's with all the samurai content happening now within our lives? So what are your thoughts on this, man?
I am so on board with this that everything about this, I am so down. You go back 15 years ago when Predators came out, which I like it more than most people. It's a safe follow-up, but there's a sequence in it where a guy pulls out a samurai sword and fights a predator. And it could put this idea in a bunch of our heads of like, well, that could have been cool. That could be a cool movie if you play that out. Yeah. And then they do the movie Prey that makes it clear. You take the predators and you take them global, you take them to all these different cultures and have them battle the best killers throughout human history. That's a great concept. And now we're getting an anthology series, which is a way to play that out. And it doesn't have to be a full movie with like elaborate stories, but there are little situations and scenarios that are interesting. And you see it and you immediately go, oh, that's so cool. The Vikings and the samurai, World War II soldiers. And you go, what about a Western? What about, and you just keep playing the whatabouts of what this could look like if this thing is as good as it looks. So I'm very excited. Even the animation, it feels like paintings come to life and then it's gory and violent. Like they're leaning into it. So I dug everything about it.
Yeah, I did too. I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic trailer. I took the day off yesterday because I was just tired from my trip to LA on Monday. So I didn't do a reaction to this one. But when I watched it, I was losing my mind thinking I should have done a reaction because I did not anticipate it was going to be this excellent, this level of animation, this level of storytelling. It doesn't mean that Hulu doesn't do some good animation. I mean, Hitmonkey is a lot of fun, but I didn't anticipate this level and the Predator stuff. So clearly, Shawn, Prey opened the door for what could happen here. And Trachtenberg, not necessarily a James Gunn, not necessarily Kevin Feige, but certainly in this corner of the Predator universe, he is creating some really interesting content. And where that goes next, because now we're all looking forward to a Predator Badlands trailer whenever that's coming out But this idea of having this go about, you said what about, it's almost like what if, but it's called what about now in the world of Predators. That is a lot of fun to explore in this one. The animation, the storytelling, and the different types of warriors they're using from different times in history. That's exciting to people. And again, covers a lot of ground for people who like this kind of stuff, like a person who likes a Viking might not be a samurai person. A samurai person might not be a World War II pilot person, but you're covering those three stories. So you've got enough interest from all these different quadrants of people to enjoy this stuff.
Well, even just the nature of the trailer, you immediately see the different scenarios that get interesting. Where they're doing like the fighter pilots battling the Predator, and they shoot the hook through the plane. You go,
yeah,
that was so cool. And there's just the different types of action that it just got me excited and giddy. And it's like they realize we don't need to really overthink this too much.
Yeah.
There's something in the Predators, like let's take the best killers from Earth and put them on this hunting ground. They went, that was almost the perfect idea.
Yes.
But it was like, let's go throughout time. And the Predators come to all these different cultures, and it's a very similar concept, but like the better, more exciting version of it, because it's cross-cultural, cross-time, and there's so many different things you can do as soon as you're going to these different places. And then I think an anthology is the way to do it, where it doesn't feel like it's too played out, and it doesn't feel like you have to like repeat big, gigantic story arcs or anything like that. It's just little episodes of battles.
Yeah.
I hope it's as good as it made me feel.
We see these franchises opening the door to this more and more. John Wick's got an animated series coming out. So, with Star Wars all the way back with Clone Wars was kind of opening the door to animation that would be canon and connected to the overall story. So you see here that now these franchises in 2025, 2024, and are opening the door more and more to the animated content going side by side and hand in hand with a theatrical content. Even James Gunn with Creature Commandos with the Frank Grillo part is connecting that up to live action, as we're going to see him in Peacemaker season 2.
Right. And it's just interesting to see the way that that with streaming and with kind of these different options, that storytelling is getting expanded, that there's ways to have like formal canon ideas that are given a budget. Sometimes you'll get movie stars, and it's like the guy doing it. It's Dan Trachtenberg, the same guy that did Prey, same guy that's doing Badlands. He went, I have more than one good idea. Like people loved that, like we're taking it, and Native Americans do, like people like that. Let's play that concept out, but I also have this other movie concept. Let's do both. And they went, let's do it. And we're in a time like we're getting 2 different Predator movies this year that are so wildly different. That's awesome.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And so you hope all of it works out and people get excited about it. But I want to see this explored more and more, the animation side of things, because I think we're in a golden age of new animation. Blue Eye Samurai, all this stuff that's happening here on all these different networks. There's really, although the animation itself is starting to constrict a little bit since the strikes, the quality of this animation is really high level that for us nerds and geeks who are into this kind of stuff, which I'm excited about to see continue.
It just feels like over the last few years, there have been so many interesting things happening with animation.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have thought going into a Predator movie that I'd be like, oh, that looks really cool.
Right.
But it does. And they're getting animators that are bringing something new to the table, and combining certain aspects of what you can do with digital as well as classic animation techniques and merging them together and bringing art into it. And there's so many different things they're able to do these days where so many animated projects just look really cool and really interesting.
Yeah, Arcane, Invincible, The Boys stuff. Like there's so much that people can choose from, and Netflix has opened the door to even more anime coming through here. I've noticed last night I was going through suggestions how many of those titles are animated, and so it's exciting right now to be in that field for sure. Love, Death, and Robots is another one too that I enjoy seeing some of the animation from that as well. All right, so we covered that story. We talked about covering the story, so we covered it. Let's move on here to another story and have some fun with this particular one. This is an interesting story here. I don't know if you're watching the studio right now here.
Yes.
But let's take a funny break. Yeah. This story broke yesterday. A Hershey's chocolate film is in the works. Finn Wittrock and Alexandra Daddario have been set to star in Hershey, a live-action film about the story behind one of the world's most famous chocolate companies. Wittrock will play Milton Hershey, who, alongside his wife Kitty, that's Daddario, built a candy empire which powered a philanthropic legacy. The pair founding the Hershey Industrial School that provided free education and housing to orphans and underprivileged children. Decades before his death, Milton would transfer the majority of his fortune into Milton Hershey School Trust, which became one of the wealthiest educational endowments in the country. Mark Waters, who I love from Mean Girls and Freaky Friday, will direct the project, which will shoot in Pennsylvania starting in May and be released in 2026. Waters said in a statement, against all odds, Milton achieved great success, but unlike a lot of other wealthy men of his time, he shared his success with the working people and community around him. Sharon Paul, Mark Tibbin, and Maria Lowe, Joshua Harris will hardly produce. The Hershey Company will which also owns brands like Kit Kat and Twizzlers, is the fifth largest chocolate company in the world by revenue, behind Mars Wrigley, Ferraro Group, Mondelez International, and Meiji Company Limited. There. So, Sean, I know the initial response is to compare this to the Kool-Aid movie from the studio, but I mean, the story here seems to have more serious elements to it that could lend itself to be more like The Founder or The Social Network. What are your thoughts when you hear this?
Right. I mean, it's the headlines yesterday, the tweets about this yesterday were hilarious. And immediately people like using pictures of Seth Rogen from the studio, like Hershey's. And it's funny. The joke, like that show has just like completely satirized Hollywood so perfectly.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between using chocolate as a springboard for a story and using the foundation of a company as the foundation for a story. In particular, when you're talking about people that grew this chocolate empire and then used it to make the largest educational endowment ever. So it's a story of a philanthropy. It's a story of a great rich but great generosity. That's a story. It's an actual thing that happened that's interesting. And we've all eaten Hershey's chocolate, but how many of us know the story of the actual influence beyond that, where there's people being educated. There's people because I bought the chocolate bar.
Right.
That's not the same thing as the Kool-Aid man would be like. I only saw the tweets yesterday, and so when I was prepping for this, I read the article, and okay, this is a movie about the company. It's not chocolate bar.
Yeah, I love this in its approach, right? Look, first of all, Mark Waters is a great choice to get. What he was able to do with Mean Girls and Freaky Friday, he's got a little bit of an impish sense of humor with what he does, but underneath there's some great heartfelt moments in both of those movies, some great commentary about connecting with people and being honest with who you are and wanting to do good for other people. You see that throughout both of those movies. Yes, it's very contained in terms of the friends group or the family situation, Freaky Friday, but it's very much about like finding the goodness within what's going on and the madness of it all. And nowadays, as I alluded to, I mean, you see the world is going crazy. People are angry at billionaires. People are supporting billionaires and their instincts and all this stuff. So a film that comes out that is about a person with wealth and achieving so much success who's giving back to help the community, to help people, to educate people at a time when education is being cut all over the place. Here's a story that's coming along to tell you that education is important, education is valid, and that this is a man who took his money, or a company that took their money and put it where their mouth was in terms of helping people and getting and making the world a better place. And I think that's a good thing, good energy and good message to have in a movie like this.
Right. Exactly. And that's first class. I get why people don't like, but as soon as you look back a couple years ago, was it 2023 was like the year of product movies?
Yes.
Air, BlackBerry, Tetris, and Cheetos. There was a Cheetos movie. I actually eat those movies are just so entertaining to me. They're so interesting to me because there's these brands we engage with, and there's a whole story about where they came from. And in the case of this one, it's a story it's inspirational. It's about people using great success to help other people.
Yeah,
that's something great to put out in the world right now.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how Finn Wittrock and Alexandra Daddario do in a movie like this. I think Daddario's been building since White Lotus, certainly the first season of True Detective, but like White Lotus is what really kind of got Alexandra even further out into the public, so to speak. And now with Finn Wittrock, one of these up and comers who's been going through the last few years, getting more and more attention for himself. Got to be real curious to see what they can come up with along with Mark Waters. So yeah, we will see. We will see very soon, I'm sure, on that. All right, let's move on to another story here. And guys, we're at 21 super chats. Hey, come on, Sean is here. Let's get to 100 at least. Come on, let's match Roxy with 103 at least. Send in your super chats. Send in your love, people. Sean is an incredible resource and a fantastic pundit. So you want to ask him all kinds. I see you guys asking questions in the chat. Ask those questions through Streamlab, through super chats rather, and send them in as we go along. All right, let's move on to this story here, man. Andor is happening, Sean, very, very soon. I'm sure both of our channels are revving up their engines for this one. But Disney wraps up the first season of Daredevil Born Again next week. By the way, that episode last night was a banger. After that, it will be jumping directly into the second and final season of Tony Gilroy's acclaimed Star Wars series, Andor, reminding everyone about the new run's compressed release plan. The show's official social media account has released a graphic showcasing when episodes will air. The new season consists of 12 episodes comprised of 4 3-episode arcs. We knew that, with each arc set to see a time jump between them of around a year. The result is essentially 4 feature-length movies with a week gap between them. The first airs on April 22nd, followed by the second on April 29th, and the third on May 6th, and the fourth on May 13th. Speaking with Empire recently to promote the series, showrunner Tony Gilroy says the cast and crew had, quote, ultimate freedom making the show thanks to key executives, the success of other Star Wars shows, and the audience all standing up for them. He said, quote, we were protected all the way down the line. Kathy Kennedy protected us. Lucasfilm protected us. Bob Iger protected us. The audience protected us. The Mandalorian protected us. We had all these people out there, fictional and real, backing our play. The success of The Mandalorian gave us the platform to jump off. Their success is what would fuel the whole thing. I mean, no Baby Yoda, no Andor. Seriously, don't think that we don't know that. Online, people try to drive a wedge all the time between us and Jon Favreau and Filoni. It's horrible what people say. It's terrible. And the truth is, we don't have a show without them. They gave us the muscle to go. Fascinating to see his comments here, Sean. And I'll add something more to it in just a second. So what do you think about these comments? What do you think about what we got here from Andor? What are your thoughts overall on this?
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people, I loved Andor. It was just something so different in the world of Star Wars, but it felt like it was exploring the piece that we hadn't really explored in that manner, the actual espionage that would be required to exist for the rebellion to take place.
Yeah.
We're doing the release schedule. I've actually wanted to have more streamers experiment with kind of this hybrid model of releasing in chunks. And this is a show that complements the way the show is written.
Yeah.
As they said in the article, basically each week we're going to get a Star Wars movie every week for a month, where each 3 episodes is its own little mini arc. That's the way the first season was designed too. So it makes sense that it doesn't feel like we're stretching it out too much, but we're getting like this significant Star Wars burst for each week for a month. I like that. Or I guess I'll see if I like that. Well, I like doing the experiment. Let's see how it plays out. But I'm excited to see how that works out. And it like a prequel done right, and a prequel that our knowledge of the future, our knowledge of where all of this is heading, adds to it rather than spoiling it. You're piecing it together in a way that's like really interesting. Yeah. So I can't wait to check it out. And, as we kind of even talked about earlier on here, there's this tendency to turn everything into a fight, polarize everything, and everyone has to be at odds, and there's a battle everywhere. And you go, maybe we're a little bit too bored in our lives and we're trying to fabricate some drama where it doesn't exist. And in the world of Star Wars, they went like, we've got our cute little baby Yoda that my 6-year-old has 1,000 little baby Yodas in her room. She doesn't understand Star Wars, but she understands cute guy. And then we've got Andor that's like this sophisticated, thematically rich version of Star Wars. Both of those can coexist. Yeah. And that's awesome. Yeah. That's once again the advantage of the era that we're in. Maybe there's, of course, setbacks. Maybe there's oversaturation. There's other things to discuss. But it's also cool that they can make something that my 6-year-old that does not understand anything about Star Wars, it's her on-ramp that's making her want to be engaged with this thing that means so much to me. And there's the most mature, serious Star Wars that we've ever gotten that's for me.
Yeah, 100%. I'm in the same boat. My lady does not watch too much nerdy or geeky stuff, but Mandalorian with Baby Yoda, she watched all those episodes because of Baby Yoda. She enjoyed that kind of stuff. And Andor is spoke my language, being Latino, being the son of immigrants, this idea of the approach they were having here with that story of the revolution going against people trying to take over things. And so that kind of really appealed to me. But of course, that's universal, right? We all can experience some entity wanting to control us, wanting to force us to do things, and then kind of going along with our lives until something happens that makes us react and start to play a hand in this overall battle. I think a lot of people have been having that conversation with themselves over the last few months with everything that's going on in the world, no matter what side of the fence you are on, which is interesting. But what do you think of his comments, Tony Gilroy's comments here, trying to undercut or trying to throw water on a lot of the fire that there's division between Tony Gilroy and Filoni and Favreau? Certainly, we've talked about it on this show. I've talked about it on my show. I don't know if you've talked about it on yours too deeply, about whether there is this idea that Filoni doesn't like Andor and that's why they're rushing all of this out at once. And so it seems like Gilroy's trying to put to rest all those rumors and saying that everybody's on board with us. Everybody likes what we were creating and they supported us. What do you think of his comments here?
Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit tough to know with all of it because they're writers, producers, actors, they all lie from time to time. They're all trying to promote their product. And so the division doesn't help them at all.
Right.
So how much of it is sincere? But like, he's so confident in just squashing all of it. And he's so we love them. They love us. Like, why would we have issues? Like, why? Like, he says it with such confidence. It's tough to read it. If you're just making an empty statement, you don't normally say it that way.
Yeah.
And, also, this is a guy that there are podcasts of him being as blunt as possible. Like, this is a guy that doesn't seem like, you better say what we want. He's not that guy. And after he said stuff that was not favorable, they still hired him to do Andor.
Yeah.
So he's the sort of person that you take a little bit more as, if he says that, he's like, what are you guys talking about? Why would they be mad at me? Like, because I've seen him be mean and say very uncomfortable things, you trust him when he says something positive.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yeah. One other thing I want to bring up connected to this story and get your thoughts on this, Sean, is this. They released, or this is the rumored runtimes here from Bespin Bulletin. I know we're using another count here, but these are the runtimes: 51 minutes, 44 minutes, rumored runtimes, 53 minutes, 54, 54, 54, 44, 47, 58, 48, 42, 46. This is amazing. These runtimes. This is, I mean, you talk about trying to review stuff on a channel, 3 episodes that are like 50 minutes or 45 minutes. That's a lot of reviewing per week. What are your thoughts when you see these runtimes? Does it excite you as a fan? But then on the other side, are you like thinking, God, reviewing this is going to be extensive?
Well, so there's the side to it that a number of these Star Wars and Marvel Disney Plus shows for a while got criticized because they were just too short, and it felt like they're 40 minutes and then 10 minutes of credits, and so it just felt like it was too small of a taste and not enough happened.
Yeah.
And so you see them getting more at 45, 50 minutes. You go, right, these are full episodes of television again.
Yeah.
And you want them to be that. And so my first thought is, okay, we're not doing the bite-sized thing that I don't think worked the best, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Flip side to it, I've been playing that out in my mind too, of like Tuesday night, 2.5 hours of Star Wars drop and you wonder, like, is that going to be too much? Because there's a side to it, you go, cool, a Star Wars movie drops every Tuesday night.
Right.
And then you go, wait a minute, not every Tuesday night, I'm scheduled for a month. There's so many different ways to analyze all these different things with these different models where they do it. But, you think with Netflix got us used to the binge model where a full season would drop and you'd be like, I got to watch this whole season right now.
Yeah.
And this at least breaks that up. And so we're doing, 3 hours every week.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And even trying to think, like, how do you do those weekly reviews when it's like, okay, I got to watch all of this and figure out, what am I going to review? How am I going to break? Am I going to do as one chunk? You think through all of that stuff, but I'm
on your camp. The fact that these runtimes, if these are the actual runtimes, because it's still rumored from Bespin Bulletin, if these are the rumored runtimes, this shows you the level of seriousness they take this show at. This is House of the Dragon runtimes. These are Game of Thrones runtimes. These are like premiere TV runtimes for shows like this. We just had Severance. I think every episode of Severance is almost an hour. So that tells you that their approach to this is much more prestige versus something like The Acolyte or even Mandalorian at times, which was only 30 to 35 or 40 minutes. Like, this tells you that they are seriously diving into lobbying for awards for this show. Even though they came close last time, there may be even more of a push this time around, especially with the release schedule.
Right. And, going back to that same language that we've been using all along of, legitimately, these are 2.5 hour long Star Wars movies dropping every week.
Yeah.
And espionage shows, heist shows, and just get excited. Like the thought, like, we've had to wait a long time. And it's made me wonder, like, why didn't you just do half of these a year ago and half of them now? Or like,
interesting.
If you're going to have a time jump in the middle of it, I thought, like, why didn't you just split it up into two batches?
Right.
But also being like, it's finally time, and you're delivering a lot of, fingers crossed, prestige Star Wars. A prestige Star Wars movie every week for a month. That's cool.
We're going to be wrung out emotional wrecks after the end of Andor and The Last of Us. Like, these next 2 months are going to rip us
right.
emotionally, I think. I have a feeling. And they just announced season 3 of The Last of Us, I saw this morning. So we're not even done with that story beyond the video games, it seems like. So that's going to be real exciting as well. Well, let's stay in the world of Star Wars, Sean. Let's move on to this rumor about Jesse Plemons. This is supposedly happening here, that Jesse Plemons from Civil War, as you see there, I love the Civil War, 0 Day Killers of the Flower Moon, reportedly has, quote, has the offer for the role of the lead villain in the new Star Wars film being directed by Free Guy and Deadpool and Wolverine helmer Shawn Levy at Disney and Lucasfilm. He also did Night at the Museum, I want to remind people. Daniel RPK reported the scoop, which follows on from a report last week that Killing Eve and The Last Duel star Jodie Comer is in talks to join the project as well. If true, they would join previously announced 3-time Oscar nominee Ryan Gosling in the project, co-written by Levy and Jonathan Tropper. The project is reportedly a contained standalone film not connected to the Skywalker saga, and is set after the events of Rise of Skywalker. The new film is said to have a significantly smaller budget than the previous Disney Star Wars films. Kathleen Kennedy, Shawn Levy, and Jonathan Tropper will produce, while filming to take place in the UK later this year. And we talked about Plemons already, but Plemons was rumored to be in the running to play Kylo Ren in Star Wars Force Awakens prior to Adam Driver scoring the part. And he has Yorgos Lanthimos' Begonia coming, and Inarritu's new film on the way as well. So Jesse, another one of these incredible actors, completely in his prime right now. So, I mean, Jesse Plemons, Jodie Comer, and Ryan Gosling. That's a hell of a lineup for a film of yours. This doesn't feel like a Deadpool, Wolverine, yuck joke fest. This feels like something of much more heft and weight. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's interesting to me because Jess has come up now twice, talking about these big franchises, and I started watching him back in his high school show, Friday Night Lights.
Oh God, yes.
I live in Central Texas, so Friday Night Lights is like royalty. Like, they literally shot parts of it around here. There's a stadium I can see the lights from it from my office right here that's in the show. Like, that's how Friday Night Lights Central. So that's my memory for him, is like Landry's taken off in his career. And then, of course, Breaking Bad and all of the other things that he's done over the last 10 years. So he's, of course, great. He's versatile. My first thought, though, is he has a very specific, like, naturalistic style to what he does that feels different from a lot of typical Star Wars acting. There's a certain theatricality. And even you say, like, he's great, and you say that he was in the running for Kylo Ren. I go, how does that? Like, I don't see, like, my brain can't see it. I haven't seen Adam Driver's Kylo Ren, and he's like, what? What would that? Like, I'm confused hearing that. So I'm very curious what this movie is. Now, people, think Shawn Levy and they go Deadpool and Wolverine, but, like, this is a guy that's been around for 20 years that has done a lot of different movies, a lot of different genres, and had a lot of big, gigantic hits. That just knows how to work with a lot of people. And that's the side to it where you go, that bringing him into the world of Star Wars, like, there's a lot of potential for something cool there. And that we're doing a story that's standalone. That's another thing I'm just excited about, of, like, what... The world of Star Wars has so many little pockets that you can explore. Yeah, and we're going to do that, and it looks like we're going to have an awesome cast.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. I was a little I like Shawn as a director. I think he does really good crowd pleasing fare.
Yes, correct.
I don't really think of Sean as like an Inarritu or any of these other directors that deliver much more, or even Tony Gilroy with what he did at Andor. I don't think of Shawn Levy that way. That being said, it doesn't mean he can't do it. It doesn't mean he can't explore something like that. So if you're going to take a chance to maybe shake up your brand or style of directing a little bit and take on a much more serious story, you want to bring actors that are going to help you bring that across and maybe do a little bit of the extra work that you don't necessarily know how to do just yet. And you bring in someone like Ryan Gosling and Jodie Comer and Philip Seymour Hoffman, who all delivered layered, nuanced, and complex performances in a lot of the things they've done in the past. So this, to me, gets me excited now for this movie in a way that I wasn't necessarily. And Jodie, as people are pointing out, played Rey's mother, and there's rumors that Rey is supposed to appear or be a part of this movie. So what are we telling here? What are we exploring? Are Ryan Gosling and Jodie Comer Rey's parents? Are what are we exploring here? And is Hoffman the one, or is Plemons the one that kind of deters them from and makes them give up Rey? I don't know. So there's all kinds of things that go on my head, or are these completely different things? I know they say standalone, but they always say standalone, and then a Skywalker thing shows up or Vader shows up. So you just never know. And so to me, this gets me really excited. And even if they don't go that route, I think people will forget that she was Rey's mom or don't care about it if you do a good movie. So I'm excited all around to see what they're going to create here with all this cast, man. Yeah. All right. So let's leave the world of Star Wars and let's move on to something else and jump into something that's also under the Disney banner. Let's jump into some Avengers news. This is going to be real curious. Now, I don't know how Sean feels about some of this stuff, but we will see. We will hear. Well, I do know how Sean feels because I've watched his channel, but something like this. So we will see. But filming is getting underway on Marvel Studios' Avengers Doomsday, and already there's leaks from the set with a video going up showing off a photo of what appears to be a garden courtyard turned battlefield covered in both small and large craters. The video, which appeared on the channel of YouTuber Unbox PhD, has speculated to showcase the site of an incursion as pieces of one Earth land on another as the worlds collide. If you go to this Dark Horizons article, the link is there. I clicked on it, watched a little bit of it. I'm not going to put it up here for people that don't want to see spoilers. The Russo brothers have previously indicated plans are in place to deal with the paparazzi, ranging from huge walls around sets to much of the film being shot in secure sound stages. Head over to YouTube to check out the video. Tom Hiddleston also recently spoke about reprising his Loki role for Doomsday, saying via the direct that he is, quote, very, very excited. It's really remarkable, actually, that I can talk about it because mostly I'm in a position of knowing and not being able to say anything. He added that playing Loki was an extraordinary chapter of my life, and it's not over yet. Talk of Avengers spiked earlier today when Marvel released an 8.5-hour ASMR clip dubbed Wolverine Breathing Exercise. I watched. This is great. To mark National Stress Awareness Month, really kind of them. Hugh Jackman is seen breathing in a video loop, which has a brief moment of him flashing claws at the halfway mark. And speaking of Marvel, filming is also continuing on the second season of Daredevil Born Again, with eagle-eyed witnesses spotting a boxing match advertisement for a Mayor Fisk versus Matterhorn match. Spoilers there for those of you who read the certain runs. The ad also indicates it's a charity boxing match for the benefit of the New York Born Again Revitalization Project. Avengers Doomsday is due out in cinemas in May of next year. Okay. Your thoughts on this, Sean? Did you get a chance to look at this footage? And what do you think about what it looks like if you did?
I gave it a quick look. Sometimes I try not to get too much into the world of leaks and stuff like that.
Totally.
Because I want to enjoy the movie as much as possible. The basic idea of it's being incursions, worlds colliding, that all sounds about right.
Yeah.
My immediate feeling about stuff like this is they started filming days ago and already we're getting set leaks. That's the frustration for me that I have criticized a bunch of Disney projects and a bunch of big studio projects for spending too much time in front of a green screen. And then they go outside and immediately we're taking pictures. And, this happened with Endgame, that we had pictures from the Battle of New York 2 years before the movie came out, where they had bracelets on and stuff.
With Force Awakens. This happened with Force Awakens.
Exactly. If they go outside, people pull out from a mile away with their telescopic lens, and we're posting pictures of everything. It's on the internet instantly, and it's frustrating because you kind of create a scenario where they have to go into studios on sets to protect themselves from things being spoiled, and that when you're making creative decisions about storytelling and how you're going to make your movie just to avoid spoilers on the internet, I mean, I think the internet and the fans are starting to hurt the storytelling process, and that's frustrating.
It's a fair point. I mean, you can only do so much. I mean, the other step is shooting down drones and having like almost like a military, you know what I'm saying? Military style approach to it, where you've got special forces on the ground who are monitoring it. Get the whole cast from Lion, or the crew from Lioness, to be a part of this thing, to watch over it and to protect it, because it's really brutal when you look at this situation, and that, you know, right now there are sections of the fandom that don't care about spoilers, don't care. They want that information. They want to be, they either want it because of their own selfish desires to know this kind of stuff, or they're so into the franchise, or they want to be the cool kid that's telling everybody what they saw and all that kind of for status. So you see that. So unfortunately, you can only do so much to stop it, especially, as you said, an open area there. Unless you're shooting down these drones, and I don't know how far up those drones are that you might not be able to detect them.
Right.
That you're really at a loss for what you can do. I mean, the shots are interesting. I saw speculation of where it might be, what particular place it might be alluding to. But I like the shots, but you're not going to get much from this shot other than an approach to what they're doing. So it's interesting.
Very vague concept.
Yeah, very vague. Yeah, exactly. So not too heavy. What do you think about the breathing exercise thing they released? Is that great?
Well, it feels like Marvel hired someone new marketing person to play around with their viral techniques, because of course the Doomsday announcement with all the chairs. It's such an odd choice that like everyone had an opinion on it, whether it was brilliant or you hated it. It was infuriating. We have a mutual friend, Griffin, and the whole time during that, he's texting me like, "What on earth are they doing? What is that? Like, why are they doing this? Why is it taking 5.5 hours?" But it got everybody talking. Like it worked in getting the chatter. And then you kind of do something like this, that it's like, we're going to post 8.5 hours of Hugh Jackman breathing. It's so weird, but it's interesting. It's funny. Get you talking, and then tying it to anxiety awareness and things like that. You go, okay,
which is great.
Maybe you're onto something with this, of just kind of like playing around with the quirks of the internet and the way people interact with it and what gets people talking.
It's already at 326,000 views. This thing from yesterday. So clearly people clicked on it thinking it was some kind of footage, but enough people stuck around that maybe they tried it out. Maybe they breathed with it. And I think the goal is a really cool goal, in that, as I said, the world is crazy. Taking a moment to breathe before reacting, and especially for young people who are, who enjoy these heroes, enjoy these universes. Maybe they're the ones who could look at a video like this and be like, okay, I'm going to breathe with my Wolverine hero. I'm going to breathe with Hugh Jackman, who I like. This will maybe help me. So you never know. As long as you put good stuff out in the world, you just never know how you can be helping people. And also, as you said, it's inventive and funny and out of the box and interesting. So yeah, I kind of like that as well. All right. Do we have any more stories that we get? We did the Hershey's. Oh yeah. We did the Andor. We did Avengers. We did the Star Wars villain, Hunger Games, Dune Messiah. Okay. We've done everything. Before we jump into the questions though, Sean, I want to give you the floor here to let people know about your channel and promote anything you want to promote, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Sean Chandler. I have a YouTube channel called Sean Chandler Talks About, and it's a place for people that love to talk about movies and TV way too much. That's my origin story. I was just like all of you, watching Movie Talk back a decade ago, just loved learning everything about movies, and I thought, hey, maybe I can do that, and started my own channel where I talk about movies way too much. So if that's you, you're someone that drives all the people around you crazy talking about movies way too much, consider checking out my channel. If you look up Sean Chandler, you will either find an NFL player or a guy that looks like me talking about movies. It's the guy that looks like me talking about movies.
100%. And you've got like 3 other channels. You've got the Plus channel. Yeah. You've got one of these other channels. You got a personal channel, and then you've got a channel that has a lot of videos to help people start out in YouTube.
Yeah. So I have one called Real Creators that I'm just kind of by my nature want to help people. If I've been successful at something, I want to help them. So I just feel so lucky that I get to do this for a living. So I wanted to kind of share my thoughts on YouTube, and done some Comic Con panels with other kind of big creators talking about how to grow on YouTube. And then I have one called Sean Chandler Plus that's kind of more clipping out segments from live streams and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more personal. If the main channel is like more edited, movie reviews, rankings, things like that, the second channel is kind of clips that has a little bit more personality that comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm nowhere near Sean Chandler's subscriber numbers, but if you want to come follow me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says, basically the Outlaw Nation there. All right, let's get into these super chats here, Sean. Let's see how many we get as we go along. Trying to hit that 100 mark, people. Let's welcome Sean to the show by hitting that 100 mark. So here we go. Mike's Movie Madness says, hello, all. Mom's in the hospital because of an idiot driver. Thank you in advance for helping being a distraction for the day. Thankful that she's doing well. Tough one to start off with, Mike. Thank you for reaching out, and thank you for letting us entertain you during a tough time right now. And of course, I think Sean and I send you, and Kristian send you and your family a lot of strength, and your mom especially as she deals with this.
Yeah. And on a personal note, when I was in high school, my mom was hit by an idiot driver and was in the hospital for 2 months.
Oh, wow.
And it, like, to this day, there's certain health issues that she still has related to it. And so I know exactly what you're feeling right now, of just the helplessness of seeing something like that happen. You're like, why are people like this?
Yeah. Take your time through it, Mike. Process it. Take your step by step, brother, step by step, and let us entertain you. However, and hopefully, maybe if you're not a fan of Sean already, you are a fan now, and go watch his content, which will entertain you as well. Matt Sinister McCall says, hey, Sean, a big fan. Love the interview with Leone and coverage of Fantastic Fest. I hope to go there someday. Any predictions for Terrifier 4?
Well, so I do have my predictions for Terrifier 4 because I was able to talk to the writer-director, Damien Leone, who he's referring to there. But, the third movie kind of ends teasing with exactly what's going to happen, that they're going to try and rescue this girl, basically going into hell, battling Art the Clown. Damien pretty clearly made it clear he has an end in mind that he's working towards. And so it feels like, hopefully it's a satisfying conclusion, but it's one that he's had in mind as soon as he started this journey with the Sienna character that was introduced in the second film. And so I have the utmost faith in him. As someone that watched the first Terrifier, was like, what is this thing? And then he introduced all of this other mythology into it. And as soon as he expanded it, went bigger, I was like, there it is. That's this weird, crazy killer clown franchise that has something that I'm super into. So, and it's been a cool underdog story of true indie cinema making tons of money. So, but yeah, I think my prediction is that it's going to go exactly where the last one teased, that it's going to go literally to hell.
There you go. Frankie C says, John, is Hollywood cooked if China initiates closing its box office to U.S. movie makers? Happy hump day and keep going, Outlaw. Oh, thanks, Frankie. And of course, I want to hear what Sean thinks on this as well. But my reaction is, we heard this morning that China jumped up their tariffs, and then the U.S. responded in kind. I think Trump put out 125% tariffs now on China, but backing off tariffs with 75%. I think this is all posturing right now. And China would lose out not bringing American movies in as well. So I think they're just, for lack of a better term, this is like two guys in a playground circling each other like this, and eventually threatening each other. And then eventually cooler heads are going to prevail. So I don't think it's going to affect anything. I don't think they're going to bar U.S. films from coming over. They're eventually going to settle whatever they settle on, and it'll be fine. Sean, do you think they'll even go far enough to ban U.S. movies in China anytime soon?
Nothing actually long-term or significant, to the point that you said that they lose out as soon as we're not going to have all the things that people want. That's a lose for them. I'm actually going through the Reign of Marvel Studios. I mentioned to listen to it again. And the section I listened to was on China, their policies. And it kind of covers how back 12-ish years ago, the journey of Chinese changing policies, and how when they shut some Hollywood off, it hurt their industry, and so they reopened up and it helped their industry. It's symbiotic. They're a gigantic market, and Hollywood puts out movies that people want with gigantic franchises. So they're going to work together. It'll work out. That of the things in the world that are crazy that you go like, what on earth is about to happen? the Chinese box office is not the one that I think that'll kill things. And, you know,
Yeah.
it wouldn't kill Hollywood. It would just hurt it. And you would just adjust your budgets, which as I'm sure you've discussed many times, they need to tighten their budgets.
Maybe not a bad thing. Maybe not a bad thing. That's a good point, Sean, for sure. Simon Sections is part one. Thanks, Sean, for your education on Automan. Yes, I'm aware of Manimal. It's so funny. Last night I dove into a YouTube a black hole going through 1980s shows by year that were canceled after only one season. For me, it's like going back to my childhood, trying to remember some of these. So it's such a fun time. Are you aware that the actor that played Manimal also auditioned for James Bond? I did not know that. We could have had our first James Bond who was blonde in The Living Daylights. Oh, that would have been interesting to see him play it. I liked him on Manimal. So, yeah, well, nice. Thanks, Simon. Part two, preferably I would like Annie McDowell to be the Bond girl from Greystroke to Bond to Hudson Hawk, and John will not play Nintendo with me because I dare to challenge his geekdom. I don't play Nintendo. It's been forever. I'm a PS5 guy now, so that's the main reason I don't play Nintendo. But thank you, Simon. Appreciate it. And I loved Andy as well through the 80s. And you know, her daughter is fantastic. Yep. So she's certainly making a name for herself for sure. Jason Ashcroft, the collab we all wanted. Oh, thank you, Jason. Yeah, appreciate that. GoPal says, welcome, Rocha. I have to cut out early, but support. Thank you, GoPal. Jason says, excited for Avengers Doomsday. Do you guys think Fassbender or McAvoy will show up in either that or Doomsday? Oh, probably either Secret Wars or Doomsday. What do you think there, Sean?
I mean, obviously this Doomsday, they're leaning into the OG timeline.
Yeah.
I mean, it like I feel like all bets are off. I'm not surprised at anything that kind of happens with how open they are with these things. So Secret Wars, I feel like everything's gonna happen. They're gonna do all of it across the two movies.
Yeah.
I did watch just yesterday a video where Fassbender went through his career and talked about his favorite memory from each of his movies.
Was that the Vanity Fair or whatever they do? Yeah.
One of those deals. Yeah, your favorite movie memory from every movie you've done.
Yeah.
No X-Men were mentioned.
Oh, wow.
He did everything, and they even like cut to like the helmet on him and stuff when he says, every movie I've ever been in, and then it puts the helmet on and says, except one. And there's nothing from X-Men. He wondered, like, is he burned out? Like he's like a no? What does that mean? That you like no X-Men of all of them to have not one memory to talk about? Oof. So I don't know if that meant something. I don't imagine. I don't get the feeling McAvoy. I've never gotten that flavor from him. I haven't from Fassbender until this, but I would love to see him show up.
That's interesting.
They might have everything. Let's do.
It might have been Sean because they didn't want. Like he didn't want to reveal anything or he didn't want to say anything or whatever, but it also could be because maybe he doesn't want to do it anymore. That's very possible. I think you're absolutely going to see at least McAvoy. After Sean said what he said, maybe not Fassbender, but I think you're going to at least see McAvoy because you're bringing all the old school X-Men back and you've already announced Patrick Stewart in that chair thing. So the fact that you connected them already in Days of Future Past, I think it makes sense that they would absolutely show up.
If you want to just go all out, 2 Professor X's next to each other in a big showdown, like you just do all of it, and you just do the you can't go bigger than this. You just go for it.
Yeah, agree with that 100%. Jason Ashcroft says, I just wish the Reeves Batman universe would continue. I'm excited for Gunn, but I hate that I feel like I have to pick sides. The Reeves Batman universe is my favorite thing DC has done in years. Yeah, Sean, what do you think there?
I mean, whenever they first announced Reeves, when Affleck was out and they said, if we're going to get Reeves to do it, I was like, this is fantastic. This guy does smart blockbusters that have like a Shakespearean element to them while, apes that are battling each other. This is perfect. And then we got the movie and I was like, yes, this is the Batman movie I've been waiting for so long. And then unfortunately, sorry, I clicked on something on my computer and I started talking in my head. But we got the movie and it was the detective Batman story I've wanted all this time.
Right.
And then Penguin was like, well, this is really good too. And then it feels like we're stalling.
Yeah.
So like that, it's missing out on something that I think was really good. And unfortunately, whether that's because of personal issues with him or just the unfortunate world of Warner Brothers being whatever Warner Brothers has been the last several years, whatever it is, I hope we don't miss out on this movie. I don't
Yeah.
feel like I need to pick sides. I'm perfectly fine to have different things kind of going on.
Mhm.
I know there's people that play those games, but I don't. Let them be silly. If they want to do
Yeah.
high school politics with your comic book franchises and stuff, you could do that, and I'll be like, stop being annoying. But I'm perfectly fine if we've got our very kind of more grounded Reeves version, and then the DCEU one goes all out with a interconnected Batman in a universe with flying aliens.
Yeah.
I'm cool with having both of those, but yeah, it's the world we live in now that everything.
Yeah, I'm with you though. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you. Picking sides doesn't make sense. To me, it's more a matter of like, look, you want to see good content from both sides. So whatever is working here, and they've already said it's a big umbrella with the Elseworld stuff, with the main stuff. So to me, that's the way you go about it and have fun with it. And I think we are going to see more from the Reeves Batman universe. It's just like, how is that going to come about? And I think we have to be patient and wait to see what decisions they make. And look, it's not like Matt Reeves dies if the universe doesn't work. Matt Reeves will move on to do something else, and we'll follow what Matt Reeves does and be excited to see what new thing he does. It might be Marvel. Who knows? It could be interesting. Sean McCabe says, Rocha, always good to see you, brother. You too, Sean. Thank you. From one Sean to another, welcome to the crew, pal. Saying that. Wishing you much continued success and congratulations, Sean. So there you go. Oh, nice. Mike Joyce says, given the scale of the destruction the Holy War causes, is Pattinson's character really a villain? Also, since his character is a shapeshifter, I hope he turns into Kristen Stewart at one point. Look, I think they'd love to have Kristen Stewart in the Dune franchise, so that's not necessarily a negative. But as Sean mentioned, neither one of us have read the books, so I don't know what the Holy War is here, but so I can't opine on him being a villain or not being a villain, credibly or not. Anything you want to say on this, Sean?
Just based on what we know from having seen the movies,
Yeah.
Part of the appeal of the world of Dune is the moral complexity. That
Yes.
our hero Paul is also manipulating people, and he himself is the creation of a manipulation, and it plays out the hero's journey while inverting the hero's journey. And so the idea that you would have a villain, that he's the antagonist of the story, but he's also, in another sense, morally correct or something like that. That's exactly the complexity that made me enjoy the Dune movies. That it has all of the hallmarks of a classic blockbuster and the victories, but it's all more complicated. There's always that second layer to it.
Yeah, agreed, brother. Gopal also says Pattinson has a good look for the base version of Scytale in Dune Messiah, and he's a good actor, so I think he'll make a good addition. Yeah, I think Sean and I have both felt the same way. SJC360 says, if Christopher and Jonathan Nolan had to make a Transformers or Terminator movie, which would be more successful?
Well, Jonathan was one of the screenwriters on Terminator Salvation, so he, in a little bit of a sense, we do have a bit of a Nolan Terminator movie, though there's a lot of other stuff that happened there.
Yeah. I would say they'd be more successful with Terminator. There's more to explore with that. I mean, you have to play mainstream with Transformers. You don't necessarily have to do that with Terminator. So I think both Nolans it'd be real curious to see what they could create in a Terminator franchise. It could be a Dan Trachtenberg situation where they revitalize it if they were to jump into it.
And Nolan is like obsessed with time, and you're talking about one of the most famous time travel franchises. So you think two Nolan's brains playing around with time travel mechanics in the world of Terminator, and like I hear that and go, "Ooh, that could be really cool."
Yeah,
what would they do with that? But I would certainly go Terminator over Transformers, because Transformers is, you want it to be that mainstream cop popcorn fighting robots, and I want my Terminator to be smart.
Yeah, if I'm Paramount, I am waiting for Shawn Levy to be available, and I'm immediately pitching him the Transformers franchise. If I am Paramount, right? Because I mean, Real Steel was really cool as well. That's kind of maybe a dash of that. So to have Shawn come in and take over Transformers, I think would be great.
Like you said earlier, as a creator, Shawn Levy he's a popcorn filmmaker. That's his thing. He's not the auteur. He's not the guy with a super distinct style, but he delivers quality films that people love. That's what that franchise is.
Exactly. And and I want to make it clear, that's no knock on Shawn.
Right.
It's more a matter of everyone has their strengths, and this is where Shawn's strengths lie so far. Gopal says, Chani is Paul's concubine like Jessica was Leto's. Irulan is the wife to legitimize Paul's claim to the throne, but never had any affection from him, stated explicitly in the first and second books. Yeah, we do know that, Gopal, from what we saw in the movie. It's very clear that she's marrying him out of convenience to save her grandfather and all of that. But the Chani situation, yes, you're saying she is Paul's concubine in the novels. I don't think they're going to play her as his concubine in the story, because they already changed her actions and behaviors at the end of Dune Part 2 from what you saw in the books, where she willingly went underneath Paul. That's different in the approach. I think Chani's going to have much more agency. And I know someone like Zendaya doesn't want to play someone's concubine. That's not exciting for her. There's more to come from her in that role for sure. You think I'm off base on that, Sean, or what do you feel?
No, I think you're totally right. Of the the little changes that you make, and the both to where audiences are at versus in the 1960s versus also the act you bring in of like you just make for a stronger character, and that would draw Zendaya to the part. Yeah.
Mr. Penguin says, it seems like Matt Reeves knew kind of where the universe was going with all these shows like the Gotham Cop show, the Arkham Asylum, and it seems like how that halted with the change of leaders at DC. Yeah, Sean, there is an alternate universe where Reeves is the guy that is kind of rebuilding the DC universe.
It's even the way you phrase that. It's kind of interesting. Of like, obviously they gave it to James Gunn. You wonder, was there a point in time where they were thinking, let's launch off Matt Reeves? And maybe he just went, no, I only want to do the grounded Batman stuff. Like, I'll do my Batman universe. We'll build that out, but like, I don't want flying people and aliens and stuff. I want to play in the Batman sandbox. You wonder if that's what it was, and he started to do that, and then the regime change, and like, there's so many things that were mentioned or announced, and all we've gotten is Penguin, and apparently we don't even have a Batman 2 script yet. And you go,
You start to wonder. I know a lot of people get upset. They're like, why are people trying to create issues with Matt Reeves? It's not that. It's that you're reading the tea leaves. And this is what looks like you can't help when you're an analyst. You can't help but look at these things and go, look, this is veering in a certain direction. That's all we're saying. Gopal back again and saying, Sean, is there toadies outside of Possum Kingdom I should check out? Grunge is my home, but I only know toadies from the radio in high school / college.
So if you don't know, Toadies is a Texas rock band. They're kind of like Texas's response to the Pixies. In the second trailer for Thunderbolts, there's this song where they're like, do you want to die? Do you want to die? That's the Toadies. It's their song, Possum Kingdom. To give the point of reference. So I heard that as someone from Central Texas that saw the Toadies live a zillion times 20 years ago, decided to get this shirt and represent them. Their whole album, Rubberneck, that Possum Kingdom is on, it's great. If you like Toadies with if you like the Pixies with a different flair, give them a try. The other singles were Tyler and Away. But that album and Hell Below Us, Stars Above, those two albums are both ones that I thoroughly enjoyed and saw them play live so many times in the early zeros. So,
wow.
There you go.
Nice stuff. There you go. I'll put that on my list. Cool Cash Gigi says, hello, Outlaw Nation, that Mr. Sean Chandler talks about. Please give me each of your top 5 movies of the year. I think those are kind of videos we would do on our channel, so I don't know. Maybe a couple. Sean, what about you? You got a couple that spring to mind right now?
Yeah, one coming out this weekend, Warfare. I've seen that one.
Nice.
I thought it was great. Of just like a very immersive film.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's thus far. We don't have a bunch of like top contenders for what I think will actually be my favorites of the year at the end of the year. But I thought Novocaine from last month was an absolute blast.
That was fun.
I thought Companion in January was a fun little thriller with a twist to it. But I don't feel like we've gotten a bunch of like great stuff just yet. But we're early in the year.
I have to say, I saw The Amateur the other night, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And that's one of my favorites. And I'm going to do a review of it tomorrow, I think, or Friday. I liked it. It's a patient thriller and revenge movie in a style I've never seen before. And it's a Rami Malek I've never seen before that I thoroughly enjoyed. And Rachel Brosnahan. Getting some more screen time for Rachel Brosnahan was great to see in that movie as well. So I'll throw that in there. And Novocaine as well. I thoroughly enjoyed that as well. Cool Cash Gigi says, dumb question, please forgive me, but what's the point of bringing back the OG Avengers if the Thunderbolts will be the Dark Avengers for Doomsday? Well, I haven't written the script, so I don't know, but I think it's more to kind of hand the torch off if they're going to do that. And with Secret Wars, you're going to have multiple teams fighting throughout. So I think it's just a matter of getting fans back in who are excited, who maybe walked away, I think, from the current version of MCU and want their old people back. It's like you go see a band. Some people go to see them play their hits. Some people go to see them play their new music. And so bands sometimes have to satisfy both masters, so to speak. What do you think, Sean?
Exactly. It's that. As soon as you put a poster out there that has Robert Downey Jr., we got Chris Hemsworth, you sell tickets. It says Avengers and it has the original Avengers, you sell tickets. More so than if you put Wyatt Russell on the poster. He's not going to sell tickets the way the OG Avengers will. But also, you can just look at what these movies are. This is a quantity approach of like all of your toys. We're going to play with all of them in these two movies. They're all in there. Fox, Fantastic Four, the new ones, the old ones. It's all in here.
Yeah. We're using the whole backyard with all the toys. Get ready. Exactly. Chris Grainer says, do you think that the tariffs will affect award season with possibilities of less foreign films being distributed in the U.S., or does that not matter for nominations? That's tough. I'm not sure how tariffs would affect. Again, I think this is all going to be settled. He already backed off the tariffs this morning with 75 countries. So to me, he's giving them a 90-day a grace period for right now. So to me, I think this tariff stuff is going to go by the wayside very soon, and I don't think we'll have to worry about any of this stuff. But I think it would depend country by country how it would affect the foreign nominations or foreign films coming over. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I don't know what the exact qualifications are for foreign movies to be nominated in the category, but for domestic films they have to play in a certain number of theaters, but it's not a lot. That's why these movies will get a limited release in New York and LA. I don't think the tariffs are going to stop that from happening, and there's still film festivals. So I don't think in the terms of awards, that's not where I think the big effect would be. I think the question earlier about if they stuck out, what would that mean for China? I could see that being meaningful. Awards, because there's the requirements are like 4 screens or something like that. And I don't think a tariff's going to stop that.
Also, I mean, I think there are so many incredible networks that like Movie that show foreign films. And so if you wanted to go see those, you really realize like the foreign film category is nice for whoever wins it. But there are so many foreign films that are incredible for so many different countries that we're not even seeing like the tippy top of the cream because there's so much of so many great foreign films out there. Jason Ashcroft, do you guys think we will ever see Moon Knight show up again? He was so sick. Oh, 100%. He's shown up in MCU at some point in Secret Wars or something. What do you think, Sean?
This has been kind of my frustration with phases 4 and 5 is that they keep introducing cool characters and then it's like, when are we going to see him again? I don't know. Like Shang-Chi, it's like, I'm glad he was on the chair, but it's like, why don't we should have already had Shang-Chi 2 last year or this year. And there's just a lot of that. I just introducing too many characters without developing them and having more time with them. So you get a great actor playing an interesting character that's unique, distinct, wildly different from all of our other superheroes at one season. It would seem like a waste if we don't see him again, but I don't know, like, what is your plan for him? And it's the sort of thing of like, if you throw him into Secret Wars or something like that, it would just be like he shows up in a fight to like fight somebody. That's not satisfying. Right. So what is their plan? That's my frustration with so much of this you got me excited for something. You got me invested in it. And there hasn't been that follow-up with most of these characters. Yeah. And this is a fascinating example of that.
No, you're a great point with that because, Sean, I mean, the Marvel Universe is trying to operate. They're trying to operate a little bit like having their cake and eat it too. And that, like, we're going to come out with these shows, and if they don't hit that hard, ratings-wise or creatively, we're just going to, not do a season 2 and move away from it. But it's like they're in a network when you're releasing shows. Sometimes you have to have faith in a show when you bring it back for a second season and see how people respond. Then, if people don't like it, then you've got a good idea and you can do what you can do. But like, Seinfeld was getting terrible ratings. Cheers didn't strike initially. So there's all kinds of stories of even Andor didn't get the greatest ratings beginning and then eventually picked up steam as it went along. So
Breaking Bad, Cobra Kai, there's so many examples of things that it was in the middle of the run where something happened and it exploded. And I think the way that Disney has handled these Disney Plus shows and some of these new characters where it's like, let's just wait and see. You've killed the momentum on all of them.
Yeah.
Whereas very early on, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, even the Avengers, they're all getting sequels, multiple movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, everything gets a sequel, so you're invested in the characters and building momentum with them. And they should have done that with Moon Knight. It's weird that they didn't.
That's a great point. Yeah, because if people stopped after Iron Man 2 or Thor Dark World, we wouldn't have gotten Iron Man 3, which I kind of personally like from Shane Black. But then Thor Ragnarok would have never been. And so those things you kind of have to stick it out sometimes. So people, studios forget that, I guess. Mistax decent support for Sean and Rocha. Thank you, Mistax. Jason Ashcroft says people forget how good Force Awakens is. Yes, the sequel trilogy was a massive disappointment, but Force Awakens was awesome. Feel bad for J.J. Abrams. And what do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really fun movie. It's a movie that I think has been hurt by them, just the way the two follow-ups went, where they couldn't commit to everything. Where it feels like both of those movies are like antagonistic towards the movie that came before, trying to like undo. I was like, what? Could you just commit to something? And I wish that they had, whether it picked JJ or whatever it was, and do one person do the trilogy and mapped it out beforehand so it felt cohesive and consistent. But that movie, you watch it and it's a really fun Star Wars experience. It's safe, but safe isn't a bad thing. They like in December 2015, did I have a great Star Wars experience? Was I excited about Star Wars again? Absolutely, I was. Yeah. And that's what their goal was, and so they succeeded.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I rewatched an hour of it, I think a week ago, and I just found myself with a smile on my face the whole time watching it, because there was so much hope and promise of what was to come. So you were like, I love the lightness here. I enjoy Daisy Ridley. I like what we're doing, where we're going. Let's see what's going to happen. And then, of course, we saw what happened. So,
people don't like Rise gets a bad taste in their mouth, but JJ's great at making these roller coaster rides with most of his movies. So you get on the ride and sometimes you think about the logic, you might run into issues, but you just get on along for this ride and they're a ton of fun.
Yeah. Good point. Jason Ashcroft says, I'd like to see Ray show up again, her own project, or leave as well. I mean, that's the plan. If it comes to fruition for her to have her own movie, Kathleen's been pushing for that for a while now, but like Batman Part 2, we keep getting delays. Writers are changing. We don't know what is going to happen with that movie. I don't think Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy will end up directing it. And I don't even know if she's even going to, if it's even going to happen. Maybe she just appears in Shawn Levy's film. I don't know. What are your thoughts at this point, Sean, on a Ray film?
Yeah, I don't know what to, it's so discouraging. Like, I remember when they announced Disney bought Star Wars, and I was running around the halls of where I was working. Like, did you hear? We're going to get new Star Wars. We're going to get a new Star Wars movie. And it's reached a point in time where you hear we're doing a new Star Wars movie, and you go, I doubt it. Yeah, I don't think anything's going to come of that. And that's so discouraging to not be able to trust, like, things that should be so exciting. Things that, like, in my world, I'm thinking, okay, now my girls are getting old enough that this could be a Star Wars movie that's made for them. Yeah, and get them excited about it. But instead, I'm like, I don't think it's ever going to happen. So, like, I just don't trust any of the movie announcements. Like, Mando and Grogu, supposedly it's shot, but until I see a frame, I'm not convinced this thing's actually coming out. Because it's just so intangible, and if so many things are canceled, I got to see a frame before I believe it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
It's crazy how many of these things have been canceled. It's wild.
I know. I do a Star Wars show on my channel. My friend Laura Kelly, who is a massive Star Wars fan, even she's become like, enough with the snake bitten. I don't believe anything like you until I see a frame of it on the screen. So SJC360, John, that's not Kristian. Can you introduce him? I already did. It's Sean Baker. Introduce it
Sean Chandler.
Oh, Chandler. Sorry,
Sean Chandler. Sean Baker's the director. Had a great year.
That's right. Honora. That's right. Sean Chandler. And Sean Chandler talks about is his YouTube channel. But so go back SJC360 at the beginning of the show and the hour and 5 minute section of the show, and Sean talks about his stuff there. Jason Ashcroft says, man, Adam Driver was so good as Kylo Ren. I would love to see Marvel or DC cast him. I wanted him as Reed Richards or Doom personally. Well, I mean, according to Jeff on the hot mic, he said that Adam had kind of priced himself out of the role. They didn't want to pay too much for these roles in Fantastic Four because Disney was cutting budgets. So that's, I think, what ended up doing that. But that being said, I also don't know that Adam wants to go franchise shopping again. I think he did it with Star Wars, and it was a hell of a reaction. And I think maybe he wants to stay where he's at. What do you think, Sean?
Well, I mean, he seems like an actual serious thespian. Like he can have
Yeah.
fun. He'll do silly roles.
Sure.
But you look at what he's done after Star Wars, even during Star Wars, he used that as a springboard and he just started collecting big directors that he's worked with.
Yeah.
And so, he's working with Ridley Scott and these other directors that it's like he's working with the people that he thinks the best at what they do, doing very different types of roles, very different types of films. And if he wants to do a big franchise, if as you just said, with start talking about him pricing himself out, it's like, I mean, if he'll pay me a ton of money, I'll do it, but that's not what I want to do.
Right.
And you contrast that with Pedro. Pedro seems like he's very happy. Like,
Yeah.
you want me to put me in all the franchises? People are cool.
Yeah.
I was been in this industry a long time. If everybody wants me right now, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna make that money, of course. Jimmy Somebody says sending in support. Thank you, Jimmy. Joey Pedras, we need Sean on the channel more. I agree. Sean's a great addition, and but Sean's also busy doing his own content, flying across the country, interviewing directors. It's not easy to nail him down. So. Have you got something new coming soon? I mean, what do you got coming up in the channel this week, man? Do you have anything you can preview or anything new popping up going into the weekend?
Yeah, this turned out to be a pretty busy week because I just interviewed the director of the movie Drop that's coming out. So that's what I just posted. Yeah. And then I actually interviewed the director of a Goofy movie. The 30th anniversary is this week. And then they're doing a documentary, not just a goof. So I interviewed the director of that as well as the people that did the documentary. And so just several cool things like that kind of I've been able to do. It's like it's a new direction that I've been leading in the recent future of just getting some of those opportunities opening up and having fun with it. And once again, all this stuff that it's still like, how is this my life? I'm sitting down talking to the director of a movie I just enjoyed, and a movie I got the DM from the director of a Goofy movie asking if I'd be interested in interviewing him. Just handed the phone to my wife, like, here's the DM I got, and she like her wallet is for a Goofy movie, so she reads it and she's like, yep, that's. How is this my life? Sometimes life is a wild ride. It's fun.
If you hold on tight and you're honest with your life, you never know where it can take you. That's amazing. Let's see here. Jim one says, Sean, I heard Screen Junkies Lon Harris moved to Austin. Is that true? Do you know that? I didn't know that.
Yes, that is true. I mean, I don't know him at all, but I saw him tweet that because he was posting about being in Austin, and I exchanged a couple tweets with him about Austin traffic because people in Austin complain about the traffic. Him coming from LA, he's like, oh, it was cute. People told me they had bad traffic. That's adorable. Try driving in LA.
Yeah,
but yes, he lives here. I imagine I might run into some screenings in the near future.
Oh,
but,
sure.
He's just moved here a couple weeks ago.
Lon's a perfect energy for Austin, so I think he's going to have a lot of fun down there for sure. Campia Space. Oh, he just brought a boat. It is on sale. Okay, I don't know what that means. Michael Thompson says, one of Sean's loyal minions here. Great to see him on the show.
It is true.
There you go. Buster Barnes says, out of curiosity, as I have no clue, would Pattinson have to run it by Reeves regarding Dune, or can he just do what he wants? Not sure how this works. I would imagine Warner Brothers had the conversation with both Reeves and Pattinson and said, listen, Reeves probably says, still not done. Let's push it to 2026. We're going to use Robert in this. You cool with that? Yes, absolutely. I'm sure they all had a discussion about it and clarified it so that he could be available for both if they're going to go that direction, right?
And the key ingredient, Warner Brothers, is over both projects. So, as you said, Warner Brothers is probably the one like guiding it. And as you alluded to earlier, there's a good chance that they were kind of like, all right, if Batman 2 is not working, we want to keep him happy. Here's our other big gigantic things. Which big gigantic thing would you be interested in? Well, Denis Villeneuve, I would like to be in his movie.
Yeah.
And I imagine there's something like that kind of going on.
Yeah. Agreed. Daniel Skinner, do you gentlemen think it's fair to say Simu Liu got his big global breakout role in Barbie since that was the movie that cracked $1 billion? No, he's in Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi came out for Barbie. So, yeah.
Yeah, so Daniel's another one of my supporters over on my channel frequently. So, I mean, he started a Marvel movie. Period. That's his breakout. Being cast in a Marvel movie, even before the movie comes out, that's your breakout. You're the star. You're the title character. That's your breakout. And then it was nice to see him in Barbie. It was fun. He had a lot of great moments in it. But you didn't leave Barbie thinking, who is that Ken over there? You were thinking about our main Ken and Barbie. So he was great in it. But of course, when you think about him, you think about Shang-Chi, and you should, because he's Shang-Chi.
Yeah, 100%. Where's that sequel? Damn it.
Exactly.
Jimmy Somebooty says, great show today, gentlemen. Thoughts on Mobland? Are you watching it, Sean?
No, I'm
okay.
not. And I think that's kind of indicative of the state of television right now, where there's so much stuff, where like a show starring Tom Hardy and a Bond, and it's like, oh, I haven't been able to get around to it yet. Like there's so many TV shows that are like that level of like, I love them. And you just can't get around to all of it.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of Severance, and so it's like I got to catch up to that stuff as well, or 1923, and I know I got to catch up on that. But we're Anglophiles here in the Outlaws house, so we definitely watched Mobland. We watched the first 2 episodes. I reached out to Paramount so I can get press contact because I want to get the rest of the episodes to do an overall review down the road. So yeah, I'm loving it. It's really good. It's some of the best work I've seen Tom Hardy do in a while, and this is the right kind of Guy Ritchie that hits my appreciation of Guy Ritchie. And so if you've been maybe hesitant on some of his projects recently, this is one you should definitely dive into. And yeah, Pierce Brosnan, so good. Francisco Lopez says, hey guys, Sean, have anybody ever told you that you look like Travis Fimmel from Dune Prophecy and Viking? Have you seen? I guess you have. Rocha, the Geek Bud is going to do a weekly spoiler review for Last of Us season 2. Yes, we're working on that. I'll announce that soon. But yeah, Sean, any reaction to that?
I think I've heard the Travis Fimmel comparison before. I think I've heard that one before. I'll take it. I'm fine with that.
Anybody
compare me to any movie stars, TV stars, I will take any of it.
But
I think I've heard that name before.
Right on. Simon Section says, Sean, Toadies Triangle, please explain, are we walking on the ocean? Because I love that song. Also enjoyed JJ Star Trek trilogy involvement more than Star Wars. Interesting. Okay.
I'm not quite sure what the question is on that one, but Toadies is we talked about the Toadies earlier, Texas band, kind of like the Pixies. They're in the second trailer for Thunderbolts, and I saw them live a zillion times 20 years ago, but yeah.
Yeah. We walking on the ocean. Is that a song you know? I don't understand the reference there.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, my brain just could be missing a lyric from one of their songs, but I don't know what that means either off the top of my head.
What about JJ Star Trek trilogy? Would you say that came off a little bit better than Star Wars? But I mean, he didn't.
I think because it works in a pocket universe. I think that's because it can stand on its own thing. As a lifelong Star Trek fan, I have my issues with it because it removes the allegorical elements of Star Trek. But like as just blockbusters, they're a ton of fun, and I have a blast with them. I have very fond memories of that 2009 film.
Yes,
and even just recently rewatched it. So like their own pocket universe, I'm very fond of them. And an example of J.J. Abrams bringing that energy, that life, that roller coaster ride that he does so well to the world of Star Trek, and giving it a blast of fresh air exactly when it needed it.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. Also, as a lifelong Star Trek fan, I completely remember sitting in the Cinerama Dome in LA watching 2009 Star Trek before I got into this crazy business, going on opening night. 70 of us were there, taking up 3 rows and just watching the whole thing. It was amazing. Yeah, Into Darkness works all the way up until that Khan moment near the end. Beyond, I'm kind of Justin Lin was kind of on the fence on that one, but the first one is fantastic. But you make an excellent point about the allegorical stuff. That's an excellent point, Sean. Vincent Zawada says Warner Brothers feels like the studio come to life. Okay.
The TV show, I imagine.
The TV show. Oh, the studio TV show come to life. Yeah, kind of.
That's exactly what. And that's exactly what the show's supposed to be. They're literally like taking every weird little episode they've had in 20 years in Hollywood and let's make that into an episode of the show. So
agreed.
What Warner Brothers is up to.
Except Zaslav, I don't think would be as nice as as he is in that show. Daniel Skinner, are you guys planning on watching the new Viola Davis Amazon Prime action thriller tomorrow, where she's the president and has to fight Homelander? I've seen the trailer. I think G20 is what it's called. I've seen the trailers, but but I'm sure I'll watch it over the weekend. What about you, Sean? Are you stacked up with busy, or are you going to be able to watch this?
It's that like the genre, the cast, all things that I really enjoy. There's just so many things out there. I mean, I think that's hurting almost everyone. Like,
it's a great point.
There's so much great stuff out there.
Yeah. And I think it's our last one. Oh, no, we got a couple more here. Francisco Lopez, have you guys watched The Pit? The show is great. That's another one I haven't watched. Have you been watching The Pit, Sean, or no?
No, and I've only heard fantastic things about it. Like, television's finally coming alive. It's perfect, kid. I haven't watched any of it because there's no time. There's so much, so many movies, so many TV shows. And then just like I started watching some old TV shows from 20 years ago on streaming and got hooked on these old shows and stuff. And there's when you have access to everything all the time,
I know.
It's tough.
And sometimes it's daunting to start something. Because I mean, I have time. My lady goes to bed at like 9:30. So I have 2 hours before I get to bed because I don't like to sleep before midnight. And sometimes the thought of starting a show with all the extra stuff on it late at night, it doesn't necessarily appeal to me. What I like to go is, like you said, go watch old episodes of Cheers or Family Ties or old Law and Orders or something. That is more pleasurable to me than starting this daunting task. So yeah,
when there's like a weight to it. If I watch The Pit, people are going to ask me about it. What if I just throw something on just because I want to watch it? Like, it's so detached from my job, which is watching things to talk about them.
Yeah, people from the outside think it's amazing. You can get these things and watch them all review, but you do burn out in the fact that it seems like your own personal choice is being removed from you because you've got to watch these things in order to put up content, in order to put up videos. So yeah, people on the outside don't seem to understand that, and it's a lot of responsibility, you know. Simon Section says, "Toe the Wet Sprocket" 90s song "Walk on the." Oh, right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay. Different band. Different band.
Yes. All Fall Down's my favorite Wet Sprocket song. Zeus Fleming, old Trek, new Trek, I enjoy it all. Shout out to you, Zeus. He also says, can we get more feel-good shows and movies like Ted Lasso or Shrinking? Shrinking's another one I haven't watched. A lot of people love that. Yeah, we're getting a season 4 of Ted Lasso, so it is coming back. So for those who've seen it, so there you go. But yeah,
anytime something's a hit, Hollywood pays attention, so all the great buzz Ted Lasso got, almost certainly there's something happening where they're trying to recapture that just hasn't come out yet, whatever it is.
Absolutely. All right, well, that's all the Streamlabs we have for today. Sean, another great show here on the Kristian Harloff Show, and thank you so much for being a part of it. One more time, please let people know where they can find you on social media and where they can subscribe to the content you do there on YouTube.
Yeah, my name's Sean Chandler. My YouTube channel is Sean Chandler Talks About. If you look up Sean Chandler, you find an NFL player or you find me. On Twitter, it's Kirk Never Died. That is a Star Trek reference. And Sean Talks About on Instagram.
I love that is. So real quick, is that because you don't like the way it happened in Generations, or is it because,
It's an overt reference to Generations. There's a lot of things in Generations I like, but if you like, that's what you're doing with Kirk. That's the way that it plays out. Really. But yeah, the handle that I use on Twitter, it's technically my YouTube channel is actually Kirk Never Died. And it's just a thing years before I started posting content, I just had the handle for the YouTube channel, and it's a Star Trek reference.
I appreciate and love it because he acted the hell out of that moment. His oh my is amazing, and it always brings me to tears, but I agree with you. They never should have killed him off. All right. One more. Kenya King says, can we get Mars Attacks versus Predator or Terminator? That would be fun. I'm down with that. All right, Sean, thanks so much for taking the time, man. Always great to be in the room with you or be here over Zoom. You know, you have such a great energy. So I hope to hang out with you more. Hope to see you more, but much love to you, man. Thanks for taking the time.
I appreciate it. And I was honored to be asked to get to talk movies with you today.
Right on, man. Take care. Be well. All right. That was Sean Chandler. Sean Chandler, everybody. Please go to Sean Chandler Talks About his YouTube channel. So follow him at Kirk Never Died on his social media. He's a great follow. Honestly, I spent an hour today on his channel this morning, just looking at a lot of his videos, studying, and just as a guy who's still kind of building what he does, it's amazing to watch the work that he's done and how much he's grown over the years. So if you are a prospective YouTube person, I cannot recommend his channel as a guideline, as a place to go and learn more stuff to do to increase your stuff. Plus his analysis on stuff, his interviews, his reviews, all of that. Really great stuff from Sean. And so highly recommend you guys do that. But this is the Kristian Harloff Show. Please remember to subscribe down below and hit that bell button. You know, there's memberships now for Kristian Harloff's channel. He's doing a lot of reactions. He's got that's what he's recording today, some more reactions. So if you like that content, if you enjoy that content, that is there for you as a member as well. And also remember to leave comments down below on all the things we talked about here. And my channel, if you want to come and subscribe to my channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says, would appreciate it. Some people coming after me earlier on in the show, they go, "Oh, you only have 37,000." Yeah, I know, but you know, I'm building and I don't have any issues with that. And I try to do what I can do in my own way to build my presence on YouTube. So if you want to come and enjoy the content we have with the hot mic on Thursday, tomorrow, we'll have Geek Buddies show later tonight. I'll have my reviews up in a couple of days. We pushed the Jedi Way show to next week because we're going to do a preview of Andor season 2 and all of that. So we won't have a show for that next week, but there'll be more content coming as we have an end of week Geek Buddy show as well. So come and enjoy all that stuff there. But for Kristian Harloff here on the Kristian Harloff Show and Sean Chandler, who joined us, I am John Rocha. Thanks so much. Take care of yourselves. Be well. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of the Kristian Harloff Show. Peace, everybody.